You're not local, dear. You came from
Oh, I'm local.
No, dear, go a little bit distant, huh?
It's okay.
You're okay?
Krishna makes arrangements
You
somehow.
made arrangements together. Hare Krishna. So thank you for inviting us here this evening. Where's our host? He's just run away again. I'd like to read from the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, maybe chapter 9 or 10. Who's going to help with this? Somebody has to do it. It's not going to happen otherwise. 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't know what series of Bhagavatams you have, so I can't say which volume. If it's the big one, it's volume 2. That'll be volume 2 in that series. Volume 2. 10th canto. Everyone can move further. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Is it possible? Can we put the camera where Manahara is? Then the ladies can move forward. No, this is the one I want. Yeah, this is the other one. Jaya Radha. No point putting this here. Jaya Radha Madhava. Is that real, this bit? Move out the way, please. He just wants to go to Jaya. Move over here. And then move the camera right there. Gap between, right up against the wall, if possible. Directly towards me. Can you go any further? As far as you can towards the wall. And then the ladies, if possible, can move forward. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivardhari Yashodanandana Raja Jana Yashodanandana Rajanarandana Yashodanandana Rajanarandana Yashodanandana Rajanarandana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Yamuna Tira Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Gauratai ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra ki Jai. Shri Radhavadava ki Jai. Patra Srimad Bhagavatam ki Shri Radha Damodar ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. Lord, so it's Diwali festival for some of you today, isn't it? For some it's Diwali, for some it was yesterday. South Indians mainly were celebrating yesterday, and North Indians mostly today. Is that right? At least that's what they told me yesterday. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol. Manohar, go put some tilak on. You have no tilak. Huh? Go and put some on. And don't do a permanent one either, whatever you do. You have to do it every day, okay? Very well. So today is being, at least on the Gaudiya Vaishnava calendar, today is Diwali. So this year you're fortunate. 2 days of Diwali, yesterday and today. Thank you. Another one. I think the local florist must be very happy tonight. Must have spent all your money in the florist. It's the 5th garland. So, and today is also, on the Christian calendar, is All Saints' Day. All Saints' Day. Yesterday you had your Halloween, huh? Halloween. I don't know if you all had pumpkin soup today or not. Did you make pumpkin soup today? Pumpkin soup, and pumpkin pie, and pumpkin pakoras, and pumpkin halava, and pumpkin everything. Turn into a pumpkin, as they say. Well, there is a religious tinge to it. All Saints' Day is a day traditionally when the Christians worship their saints. So in order to bring in, to merge, whatever you call it, the pagan, oh no, that's not enough, at least another 6. I don't, maybe they're not, maybe they're 4. Okay, well if they're still fresh, we can open that door down to the Hindu temple and sell garlands out there.
Mahagarland Maharaj.
Huh?
Mahagarland.
Mahagarland.
Temple.
Oh my goodness, these are the best of them. Best in the universe. Right, so nice. Do you grow them all in your garden? Do you grow flowers in your garden?
No, not now.
Not now. It's like summer now, isn't it? Amazing weather.
Over.
It was 82 degrees today, Fahrenheit. That's almost unbelievable. That's almost 30 degrees centigrade. That's like a hot summer's day in France, you know. Whoa, if it goes up to 30, you're really happy. Everyone goes to the beach. So they made this festival, which was a heathen festival yesterday. Forgotten the name, Saraswati. And they merged the two. They wanted to bring the heathens in, you know, the pagans. So they call it Halloween. Halloween means the evening before you hallow the saints. That's what it means. It's actually a religious name. Halloween. It's like you have Christmas Eve. You've heard of that? This is Halloween. It's All Saints Eve, basically. So it has a bit of a if you look at it positively, it's not all spooky. It's not all spooky and pumpkin pie. There's more to it than that. It's actually a religious tinge. But the most important thing about Diwali, besides the obvious ones that we traditionally we may hear about, of Lord Ramchandra, returning to Ayodhya with all the lights and what have you, the king of Narakasura and various other events which took place on this particular occasion. For the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, the followers of Lord Chaitanya, at least not just Lord Chaitanya, but the followers, the real worshippers of Vrindavan Krishna. Today is very significant because today is actually the day when this pastime takes place of Mother Yasoda binding Krishna. Happens today. We'll read from the Srimad Bhagavatam. I didn't know what we were going to speak. I didn't know what the program was till we got here. I'm still not sure what it is, but we'll do what we can. Let me see. It's a little tight here. This might be adjusted a little bit. The Pawai. Why it's not showing up, I do not know. Maybe it's spelled differently. I don't know how they spell it in here. I just don't know how they spell it. Everywhere they spell it differently, don't they? I don't know. You can look it up, huh? What have I got here? What chapter is that? What is this one? This says part 2. What chapter is that?
Part 1.
Oh, they got the covers on the wrong books. This is not part 2. This is part 4. Part 2. Oh, they're different. Oh, I see what it is. Yeah, this is a different edition. You're right. Completely different edition. I think it's the old edition. Thank you so much. My mistake. Yeah, the old edition is part 2. Diwali. Let us look at that. Deepavali, Diwali, Diwali. One of the 3. Here it is. 493. Oh. Okay. First verse. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. 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 So this is the first verse of the 9th chapter of the 10th canto, which is more or less the beginning of this amazing pastime which spans over how many chapters? 2 or 3, 4, 3 chapters, 9 or 2 chapters, 9 and 10, 2 chapters, 2 or 3 chapters anyway. And this is the first verse. I'll just read the English, a short time. Srila Sukadeva Goswami continued. As you may know, prior to this, Krishna performed a very exciting pastime. Who knows what that was? How many of you have been to Gokul, Mahavan, in Vrindavan? Quite a few of you. Have you been to the, what's it called? The, memory's slipping me. Well, on the bank of the river Jamuna there's one ghat. Brahmanda Ghat. You've been to Brahmanda Ghat? What happens there? Huh? Yeah, goes his universal form within his mouth, right? Sometimes you have kids, you may, your little child's put a stone in his mouth. I'm sure that many of you mothers have experienced that when you're a little child. Puts a stone in, you open the mouth and got to hook it out or something. Or they've eaten something that they shouldn't have done, you've got to hook it out. Does that happen sometimes? As you're a baby? Yeah. Oh, Om Jnana Tamandasya Ganasya Shalaya Chakshur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Mano Vishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Vayam Bhutadayam Dadati Svapadam. So when you go there, Brahmanda Ghat, what do you find at Brahmanda Ghat? What do you find there? Water, Yamuna, River Yamuna. What else do you find? You take your bath. Prabhupada took his bath there one time, by the way. He actually took a bath. I don't know other times. The only time I know we actually went in during ISKCON's history. Maybe he went other times. That's the only time I know where he went into the River Yamuna, was at Brahmanda Ghat. So what else do you see there in Brahmanda Ghat? What else do you see? You see a lot of things, but something very specific to Brahmanda Ghat. Anyone know? Nearby, but there's some other thing which is very significant there. There's all kinds of, representatives or places where Krishna performed various pastimes in Gokul, of course, nearby, but not exactly at Brahmanda Ghat, in distance. On Gokul. Place where he killed Putana, Trinavarta, Trakatasura, and other things we'll mention later. But what happened there in Brahmanda Ghat, you've already mentioned a bit of it. Somebody said they opened their mouth, goes the dentist, open your mouth, looks inside, sees all the rotten teeth. Well, why did Mother Yasoda no time to open his mouth in the first place? Huh? Why did she tell him to open his mouth?
Because Baldev
Check the
complained
dirt.
that he ate mud.
Pardon?
His friends complained that he ate mud.
Yeah, his friends were complaining that your son, even Balaram was complaining to Mother Yasoda, he's eating mud. Do your kids ever eat mud?
Yes.
I don't have any mud around here now. Sometimes. Maybe. Not many people have muddy gardens. They don't seem to grow much around here. They just grass everywhere. You don't see many people with gardens. How do you call it? You don't see many people with gardens with vegetables everywhere. In many countries, the back gardens full of vegetables, herbs and what have you. But I don't see it much in America so much. No, it's either concrete, artificial grass, or real grass mostly. A few bushes, stone, pebbles. So Krishna, they claimed he'd eaten mud. Whether did he eat mud or not eat mud? He ate, did he? You're sure? Your mothers, you should know. The boys, they may not. They support Krishna maybe more. Whether he did or didn't, he can do what he likes. Anyway, they said he ate mud. So if you go there, what do you see? You have to have, it's probably gone up in price. I don't know what the price is now. It used to be 10 rupees a little packet.
Yeah, they said quite far.
How much is it now? What's this year's price? I haven't been there for about 5 years, so I don't know. What's the new price for the mud? For the mud. I mean, you just get it out of the river. Just take it out of the tank and then sell it in packets. It's a good business. Transcendental business. And they sell these little packets with these little sticks of mud. Dried mud. Oh, little round ones. And Krishna, the mud that Krishna ate. Anyway, it was all good transcendental fun. So that's there at Brahmanda Ghat. And then of course Mother Yasoda said, Krishna said they're telling lies, They're telling lies. And they said, okay, then open your mouth, let's see whether they're telling lies or not. So Krishna opened his mouth and Mother Yasoda didn't see mud exactly. What did she see? Universal form. She also saw herself with baby Krishna on her lap, looking in his mouth. She saw everything. Quite mystifying. Quite mystical. You probably think I don't know what you think, you're going crazy or something. You saw that in your child's mouth. If you opened your son's mouth, you have a child, and you looked in there and you saw the universal form in your son's mouth, you'd have a bit of a shock. And Dinabandhu's not even thinking of this, he's thinking where his son is right now. He's not hearing a word I'm saying. Oh, you are? You're looking everywhere for his son. No problem. I'm not surprised. Your wife's over there, you're there, and your son's neither there or here. So goodness knows, maybe he's out eating mud in the garden.
He was taking a close look up at the Lord's seat.
Oh, he's behind the curtain, is
He
he?
was there.
He's behind the curtain, okay. Good, I hope he's not up to mischief. Someone there's organizing, overseeing. Julian, okay, Julian is taking care of him. Julian, come here to babysit. Huh? That's all right. He might want. That's probably prefers to do that. Listen to this. No objection at all. Anyway, have that mystifying pastime. One pastime leads to another. You know, Mother Yasoda's relationship with her son is a little different than that of Devaki. Yes, although it's both Krishnas, it's just Krishna reveals a different aspect of himself to Mother Yasoda than he does to Devaki, of course. And Devaki has an element of reverential respect, though. The son appears as four-armed. Mother Yasoda, she, even though there's indications like this that her son is no ordinary child, and many times it's obvious that he's the supreme person, even it's described or declared by those around her sometimes, but she cannot relate to her son in a way where there's not an inkling of reverence in her relationship with her son. It's pure Vatsalya Bhav, pure love for Krishna. There's no other mixture in there whatsoever. She's the personification of that Vatsalya Bhav. Everyone in that mood follows in her footsteps. No one can be Mother Yasoda. She alone is Mother Yasoda. But others, devotees who aspire for that mood of relationship with God, isn't it incredible? The Mayavadis, they want to become one with God. That's their idea, their envious idea. But a devotee becomes the controller of God. Krishna loves to be controlled or conquered by his devotees. He doesn't make it easy, but he loves it. Love, pure love is rare. Oh, they found him. Lost and found. Reminds us of Krishna's pastimes. You can imagine how Mother Yasoda, just now Trinavarta demon was killed. I mean, when Trinavarta whipped Krishna up into the sky, how much the Mother Yasoda and the residents of Vrindavan were in anxiety. Where is he gone? Where is he? Am I going mad? Or when the Kaliya serpent tried to kill Krishna in the lake, you know, everyone's going crazy. It was natural. Anyway, Mother Yasoda's love is incomparable and completely Krishna, completely he has pastimes where he makes it, we see a little difficult even for Mother Yasoda sometimes, but ultimately he's conquered only by love. So the love of Mother Yasoda in this chapter, how Mother Yasoda binds Lord Krishna. So that pastime took place today, and you know pretty much the history, I would imagine, at least the general outline of the history of Krishna being bound up by Mother Yasoda to the mortar, bound up around the waist, and then the waist of the silk braids which she was bound by were Mother Yasoda's, the braids on her hair. She took her own braids off and tied them around Krishna's waist, and then the ropes between there and the mortar tied him up, and so on. Took a long time. It was quite a endeavor. Most of the day, in fact. This pastime started in the morning. You know, the churning usually takes place in the morning. You know, all these preparations made in the morning. She was churning away in the morning when this pastime began. Of course, it began a lot earlier in the previous chapters. We hear how another complaint, I mean, the devotees, they love to complain to Mother Yasoda about Krishna. He's generally a mischievous child. This all brings pleasure. In the material world, you know, stealing and crime and what have you are very much disturbing. But in the spiritual realm, in relation with Krishna, they bring great pleasure to the devotees. One of Krishna's favorite pastimes as a child, of course, is stealing the butter and the yogurt and the sweets from the neighboring houses. Children are sometimes prone to this kind of stealing. I mean, they go into the, maybe you classify it differently, but they go into the fridge, the refrigerator, and help themselves, or some things or another, which they're not really meant to take, but they do. But Krishna is a king of thieves. He can describe himself like that. He's the king of thieves, and nobody could thwart his pranks, his stealing of various things, no matter what they did in the local neighborhood. And the gopis would come to Mother Yasoda and complain, and Krishna would look so innocent that it was difficult to, do anything about it. Mother Yasoda would what to do, so she thought positively and decided that, well, maybe he's going to the neighbors to steal because he's not satisfied with the milk products which we have here in our home, because she has thousands of maid servants preparing milk preparations for Krishna, unending. So maybe he's not satisfied. So Mother Yasoda herself decided she would make the milk preparations, and she has 900,000 cows in her herd. Probably quite a big herd, 900,000. I don't know if anyone on the planet has that many cows in their herd today. There's devotees in Vrindavan, and Varshan is one Babaji there. He has, how many? 100, 200,000? He's got a lot, I know that much. A huge number. But 900,000, and there were that was just a small herd, by the way, in Gokula. It's not of this world. We can't measure it by material standards. It is spiritual realm, only manifests according to the pastime before a vision, which is uppercut. So she chose the 100 cream, the most topmost of those 900,000, and then I think they whittled it down to a handful or something of the most, the best of all the herd. They give the richest, creamiest, sweetest milk of all, and she fed them the best grass that exists, so that they give them, the milk would be like nectar before. You don't have to do anything, it's just like pure nectar. But still she would use that to make all the milk preparations, ever the yogurt and the butter, ghee, and this and that, and the sweets. So she took it upon herself. She personally was churning the butter, the yogurt, to make the butter, and then other preps too, of course. And we'll read this verse now. Sukadeva Goswami continued, one day when Mother Yasoda saw that all the maidservants were engaged in other household affairs, she personally began to churn yogurt. So this we described differently by different acharyas. This is just a brief summary of the pastime here. Actually, it was Diwali day. And on the Diwali day, Nanda Maharaj, even Rohini, Balaram, most of the ladies of Gokul, most of the residents of Gokul had left Gokul. They had gone off to nearby Sunanda, the brother of Nanda Maharaj. They had gone off to his village to celebrate Diwali. And only some stayed back in Gokul. Yasoda, Krishna, and some servants and some of them at residence stay back. But most of them are away. Even her own servants are said only one servant remained, maidservant, to assist Mother Yasoda. But most of the all gone to celebrate Diwali with their own families or up to Sananda's house or somewhere. So Gokul, there's not so many around. Especially when this pastime took place, there was no one around except for Mother Yasoda. Of course, the monkeys and the birds and other entities were around, but in human form. So one day when Mother Yasoda, we read that, while churning, she remembered the childhood activities of Krishna, and in her own way, she composed songs and enjoyed singing to herself about all those activities. So we shall read the purport. It's very exciting having a child, isn't it? Hey, Itai. Takes a lot of devotion looking after a child. A lot of sacrifice. Prabhupada writes in the purport, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, quoting from the Vaishnava Toshini of Srila Sanatana Goswami, says that the incident of Krishna's breaking the pot of yogurt and being bound by Mother Yasoda took place on the Diwali day, or Deepamalika, which is today. So that's confirmed by Vishwanath Chakravarti, Sanatana Goswami, and of course by Srila Prabhupada. Even today in India, this festival is generally celebrated very gorgeously in the month of Kartik by fireworks and lights. So where are the fireworks? Singeshwar, where are the fireworks?
Banned in New
It
Jersey.
is banned in New Jersey.
Banned in New Jersey, is it?
This year.
Huh?
They said they're banned it.
Banned.
Yeah.
Everywhere in US?
New Jersey.
Only New Jersey.
Only in New Jersey. Huh?
Because of hot summer, it's dry.
Too many Indians in New Jersey. That's why. Setting off fireworks on Diwali and this and that. Well, that must be pretty intense because on the 5th of November is firework day. Oh, maybe in America you have another event on the 5th of November, I don't know. But in England, it's the anniversary when they try to blow up the Houses of Parliament. Yeah. The opposition, or whatever they were, long time ago, 100, 200, 300, I don't know, years ago. They got all this dynamite in the basement of the Houses of Parliament. They were just about to light it when they got caught. The whole Houses of Parliament would have exploded. Boom. So that was November the 5th, a long time ago. So they caught the guy, his name was Guy Fawkes. And of course now they have this celebration on November the 5th. They burn him, an effigy of Guy Fawkes. And you burn him and you have all fireworks everywhere. Everyone has fireworks. We call it Fireworks Day or Guy Fawkes Day. Again, another ceremony which has lost track of its origins practically. And so it's kind of ironic you have your election on that day, November the 5th. Let's see what happens. So, fireworks. Fire breaks is not a new thing. We can see it's here. Just like we were reading just recently how Holi Festival. You know this festival, Holi? You celebrate here in New Jersey?
Yes.
Where?
Temple, Gaur Purnima.
Huh?
Gaur Purnima.
On Gaur Purnima. Where do you celebrate it? Where? Not when. Where? Huh?
In temple.
You throw dye at everybody in the temple?
In the
In the
courtyard.
court? Oh, you go in the courtyard. Yeah, that's nice. Not quite as exciting as it could be, but it's pretty good in the courtyard. Big courtyard. Yeah, so you have this festival. It's not a, it goes back to Krishna's pastimes, as you know. The gopis and the gopas squirting various colored dyes at each other and so on. It's an old festival. It was even ordained, or let's say authorized by Mata Janava Devi, the consort of Lord Nityananda, when they had the great festival in Katuri to install many sets of deities, Narottam Das Thakur and others. and to bring all the Vaishnavas together and celebrate Gaur Purnima festival. So after the installation, Mother Janava ordered everyone then to perform the holy celebration. She told everyone how holy. And so first they would throw beautiful colored dyes on the deities, and then it would become everyone all celebrated together as a celebration. It's pretty frustrating for Westerners sometimes, especially when they just bought their new dhotis and saris. They're not familiar with the situation, and they go out in Vrindavan particularly, and within 5 minutes their new dhoti and sari is no longer what it was. Quite something. And it's become a 7-day, not 1 day, 7-day festival now. It's a chance to, whatever, go crazy. So these are authorized, but we should understand what they represent. It's not just to enjoy our senses. They're meant to please Krishna's senses, these festival days. It is understood. Okay, we read it again. The more we hear it, the better. It is to be understood that among all the cows of Nanda Maharaj, several of Mother Yasoda's cows eat only grasses so flavorful that the grasses would automatically flavor the milk. Mother Yasoda wanted to collect the milk from those cows, make it into yogurt, and churn it into butter personally, since she thought that this child Krishna was going to the houses of neighborhood gopas and gopis to steal butter because he did not like the milk and yogurt ordinarily prepared. So hear it again, what's the problem? While churning the butter, Mother Yasoda was singing about the childhood pastimes of Krishna. It was formerly a custom that if one wanted to remember something constantly, he would transform it into poetry or have this done by a professional poet. It appears that Mother Yasoda did not want to forget Krishna's activities at any time. Therefore, she poeticized all of Krishna's childhood activities, such as the killing of Putana, Aghasur, Shaktasur, and Trinavarta. And while churning the butter, she sang about these activities in poetical form. It's interesting to note that sometimes the residents of Vrindavan, they sing about pastimes that have not yet apparently occurred. And these are eternal kind of like interactive pastimes which may go on. And even in Goloka Vrindavan, in what we call the spiritual world, Gokul is also the spiritual world, manifested in this world. But in Goloka Vrindavan, even there, these pastimes are, you could say, imitated in a sense. Yogamaya creates the impression that various demons, like we hear about, are also present, although no such demon is present. And they enact the pastimes, and then they have to play it again, and completely forget that they just did it before. They don't suffer from dementia like we do when we forget to. We just had breakfast and we forgot that we had breakfast. We say, when is breakfast ready? So it's not like that. This is to bring more pleasure, ever exciting pleasure, ever increasing pleasure to the residents of Vrindavan. And for Krishna, vice versa, the residents of Vrindavan want to bring ever increasing pleasure to Krishna. So they don't want to forget Krishna for a moment. So here we see Mother Yasoda is singing in poetic form, and this is how, basically speaking, this is the meaning of Sankirtan. To constantly be hearing about, chanting and remembering the personality of God, His name, form, qualities and pastimes. This is Sankirtan. And Lord Chaitanya has made it, you could say, accessible to all, even without knowledge of Krishna, by introducing the Sankirtan movement, where everyone can chant His holy names. And this is the equivalent of what Mother Yasoda is doing here. In our lives, we may not be able to, sometimes maybe, but not very often, poeticize or sing the pastimes of Krishna. We sing various songs which glorify Krishna's pastimes. But at least we can chant Hare Krishna. And we see, I don't know about, where are you all from? How many of you are from South India? Hands up. Anyone from South India? Not so many. Gujarat? How many from Gujarat? Not so many. How many are from North India? I guess most of you. And from Bengal? Oh, not so many. Where else can you be? You've got north, south, west, east. Where else is there?
Central.
Anyone from Andaman Islands? I guess that's a little distant off the coast.
Northeast.
Yeah, it depends how you describe northeast, south, and west. Anyone from Punjab? That's north. No, Punjab is north. Punjab. Anyone from Delhi? Oh, only two Delhiites. Okay. Mumbai. Anyone from Mumbai? Okay. This is definitely majority are Mumbaites. Mumbaites. Mumbaites? Mumbaites. Mumbaites? Huh? Mumbaikers? Mumbaikers. Whatever. So, and Prabhupada says here, especially Diwali is celebrated in Mumbai. Actually, he says it right here. Because in those days it was called Bombay. Prabhupada says here, especially in Bombay, in the month of Kartik, they celebrate this Diwali with fireworks. So that was Prabhupada's experience. So Mani Yasoda is constantly trying to remember Krishna. This is the idea. Krishna performs unlimited pastimes for his pleasure, or for the pleasure of his devotees. But he also, these pastimes are manifest. He doesn't need, well, the reason he comes to this universe, specifically to the earth planet, is manifold, you could say, but primary reason is paritranaya sadhanam, that he comes for the pleasure of his devotees. So what brings them pleasure is his performance of pastimes. You get a lot of pleasure, and it's almost indescribable why, but because it's transcendental and it's actually natural for the soul. So the more the soul becomes purified, then naturally the more relish one has for these particular pastimes, to relish them. And how we develop that relish for these pastimes, of course hearing about them is one thing, which obviously has to be there, but accompanied that with the purification of our consciousness. So we get the right understanding and not some, mundane understanding, or an understanding which reminds us of material equivalents, like our relationship with our own child, or with our lover, or something, or with our pet dog, whatever it may be. Yes, Krishna has pet dogs also. Did you know that? He has pet dogs. Even dogs are there. They may not be necessarily the way we look after dogs in this world. We were in the Tompkins Square Park today. What did it say on the sign? Do you remember? Yeah. No humans allowed without dogs. That's what it said on the sign. No humans allowed without a dog. You've got to go in with your master. You can't go in there without your dog, which is your master. The dog looking after the human. No humans without dogs, it said on the sign. It's a fact, isn't it? You saw it. No humans without dogs. Just see what society has come to. You can't go in there unless you're accompanied by your dog. Look after you, make sure you don't get up to trouble in there. And you have to pick up, it says there, I interpreted what it said. It said that basically, when your dog poos, you have to pick it up. Right? What a society, isn't it? Can you imagine? What are we coming to? You barely do that. You do it for your own child and a baby, apparently. It's like for a dog. It's crazy. And what to do? Such is life today. So Krishna has two dogs. One's called Brahmaraksha, means the protector of the Brahmins. And the other, strangely enough, is called Viagra. Why are you smiling? Hare Sharan. Some of you have heard this word, I'm sure. It's not a word that we want to really propagate, but they use it in the Western world to try to become, rejuvenate or something. so you can continue to enjoy sex life later in your life. Crazy, huh? That's their goal, you know. Try to enjoy their senses, huh? More and more. Some or another, keep going. So it has its product. It literally means to become strong like a tiger or a lion. Viagra. So one of them is very strong like a lion, the other is a protector. These are two main pet dogs Krishna has. They're all there. The dogs were also there during this pastime. It's described in the name. Sanatana Goswami, I think, in his Vaishnava Toshna, somewhere it's described how dogs were present. And anyway, whatever, they're there. And Mother Yasoda is thinking and remembering all of these wonderful pastimes of the Lord. Unfortunately, people are thinking of their dogs, they're thinking of their families. Of course, you have to think of your family, but that's not the goal of life. You have to think of your work sometimes, you have to think of many things, but the most important thing is to try to think, because nothing else will release us from the bondage of material existence. You know, even to think of good things like welfare work, you know, wanting to help people in various ways, or very kind of refined lifestyles, even that doesn't release us, that just binds us in the mode of goodness. But to get freed from the bondage, that karma gunta nibandhanam, to cut that knot, the process is to remember the personality of Godhead, to cut that knot, chindanti kovadas tasya. We have to remember the personality of Godhead. It's not just, you know, it's a reality. We have to remember Krishna. Remembrance of Krishna is the essential purpose of Bhagavad Gita. And Srimad Bhagavatam is to, let's say, create that constant remembrance of Krishna, particularly the 10th canto, where Krishna performs unending pastimes. So Prabhupada writes, Krishna performs so many pastimes so that we have something always to think about. Most of the other lines of religion, they have something, but not much to think about. But in the Vaishnava line, particularly Krishna Bhaktas, they have so much to think about, don't they? I mean, when you look at it, Krishna's pastimes, if you can go way, way beyond just the Bhagavatam, and there are pastimes described by the Acharyas, pastimes in the Puranas. So many places we see so many unending pastimes of the Lord. And they're not just another pastime. Each one of them is ever fresh, and each time you hear about it, it's like the pastime becomes even more sweet. The material world, it may happen a little bit, but then it goes down after a while. You can't hear the same thing over and over again. You try, when I started chanting Hare Krishna, one of my friends said, well, what's this all about? I just chant fish and chips is all the same. So you try, I don't know if we know what fish and chips are. It's a very, you call them French fries over here. Chips. We call crisp, we call them crisp, we call them chips over here. And French fries are chips in England. And so on Friday, today's Friday, today everyone, vegetarian, not exactly vegetarian. When I was a kid on Friday, we would not eat meat. No meat on Friday. We were not religious. But everyone in England, they didn't eat meat on Friday, they ate fish instead. They eat fish. Lost its consciousness. So they eat fish on Friday. Fish and chips. So he said, chant fish and chips, it's the same. Well, you try chanting that, or Coca-Cola. I think use the word Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola, 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 Cola. Pepsi-Cola, Pepsi-Cola, Pepsi, Pepsi, Cola-Cola. I don't think you'll get the same effect. You won't even get Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola, what to speak of inner purification or happiness within or whatever. It is not an ordinary sound vibration, a mantra. So we chant that constantly to try to remember Krishna. These sound vibrations, spiritual sound vibrations, are not of this world. As Krishna comes into this world to give his association, Kalikalera, how's that word? Namarupa Krishna avatar. That Krishna has come in this age of Kali in the form of Namarupa, form of the name. He's always present. You can associate with him. And by that association, the heart becomes clear. Then our attraction to hear the pastime, our attraction to the form of the Lord, pastimes, genuinely starts to develop. It's not just an occasional thing or a relative attraction based upon likes and dislikes, but it becomes a natural, a magnetic attraction within the heart, because this is our constitutional nature, to be attracted. It's like iron is attracted by to a magnet. Our natural propensity is to be attracted to Krishna. Unfortunately, due to our misuse of our independence, envy, or whatever, we are presently attracted to his energies. So the whole idea of his coming is to attract us to him and his devotion towards him. So when we hear these pastimes, there are many lessons to learn, but there's also purification from just by hearing the pastime. This should be, Prabhupada said, the practice of persons. It means to always recite or chant the holy name, recite the pastimes of Krishna. Should be the practice of all persons eager to remain Krishna conscious. If we ask who's eager, most of you will put your hands up, but how do you really show your eagerness is to be always chanting. It's not enough to say yes, yes, we have to do also. We have to do it if we want to attain this state. Prabhupada says here, this should be the practice of persons eager to remain Krishna conscious 24 hours a day. 24 hours. This incident shows how Krishna conscious Mother Yasoda was. To stay in Krishna consciousness, we should follow such persons. And that's the process of devotional service. To follow. So our time is very late. It's already 9 o'clock plus. And we don't want to delay too long. But just briefly mention one or two other things. Of course, this pastime then of Mother Yasoda, this Damodar Leela, begins to unfold as Mother Yasoda's churning the yogurt, buttermilk yogurt, to make the yogurt is already turning into buttermilk and butter, and milk, buttermilk. So she's churning away, and Krishna wanted to then manifest this wonderful pastime and just show how deep and wonderful is Mother Yasoda's love. So many things took place, of course. Mother Yasoda placed Krishna down peacefully, he's resting, and meanwhile she's churning away, and then of course Krishna wakes up because he wants the love of his mother. Different reasons, but we could say primary. He wants to feel the love of Mother Yasoda. He starts to cry. Mother Yasoda comes. Oh yes, she said he pulls on her sari to stop churning, grabs the stick, like children do sometimes when they want attention. That's how Mother Yasoda takes him. He's 3 years old. And takes him on her lap and begins to feed her child in great ecstasy, just looking at his face as mothers do. The child's looking at the mother's face, and there's loving exchanges going on. And this is incomparable. The milk of Mother Yasoda is prema. It's not just ordinary milk, it's liquid prema, liquid love of God, pure milk form. And of course, you know, then she was also preparing in the kitchen on the stove. Various pots of milk were boiling in order to make various milk sweets, and they boiled over. There's a lot of stories about that, but they boiled over. Mother Yasoda went to attend to the pots, and meanwhile put Krishna down in the middle of giving him her breast milk. So Krishna became, you know what he became. He became quite annoyed, angry, and he picked up a little stone and smashed the pot of yogurt, splitting it in half, or making a hole. The descriptions are there. Making a hole, he buttermilk all started to come out all over the place. Krishna was really in a good mood. He was really enjoying this. And it was all part of his pleasure pastimes, although it appears that he's angry. Anger also comes from Krishna. But his anger brings ecstasy. It brings bliss to everyone, including himself. It is one of the rasas of the spiritual world, so it has to be present within Krishna's personality also. It's an eternal. Although it may not be manifested in many ways as an indirect rasa, anger. But Krishna manifested at that point of time. That anger became, we could say, prominent. Sometimes it's like that in the material world, that a main relationship may be love or friendship or parenthood, but sometimes the indirect relationships come in. They give like a spice to the preparation. They're necessary also. But they're not prominent. They're not the main one. So in this relationship, sometimes that comes in. Mother Yasoda also expressed that in her reaction to Krishna's behavior. Because then Krishna went into the storeroom. It was very, I say, cheesed off, maybe as an American term. Cheesed off by Mother Yasoda, putting him down to go to attend to the milk pots. What is this? I'm in the middle of feeding, I'm not satisfied, and she's left me in this situation. This is really bad. I have to, teach her a lesson or whatever. So then he went to the storeroom. He knew how to get in there, and went in there very cleverly. Anyways, huge long stories are there, and then began to break the pots in the storeroom, and then all over the place, milk products everywhere, all over the floor, everything smashed. And he started to feed the monkeys with milk products and everything. By which time Mother Yasoda finished adjusting things in the kitchen and came back and saw the mess of the milk pot that she was churning. It was broken. It was her favorite pot. It was her favorite churning pot. It was a very beautiful pot, and Krishna's broken it. And so she wondered, how has this happened? Of course, then she saw the footsteps of her son covered in butter and yogurt or whatever, going towards the storeroom, and she eventually saw him there. Then the chase began, and eventually Krishna agreed to be captured by his mother. She tried to bind him with her on her hair, her the silk ribbons on her hair, braids on her hair, and then that didn't quite work. Then she got rope after rope after rope, and by this time those ladies who were still there, they were watching and wondering what's going on here. And gradually the whole pastime unfolded, and Mother Yasoda was trying all day long to bind her child Krishna, with nothing, to no avail. The ropes were always 2 fingers too short, and she was on her last legs, last legs, hundreds of meters of rope, but still unable to bind him to the mortar, even to tie his waist. Couldn't do it. It was mystical. And he's the Lord of everything. Who can bind Krishna? Who can tie up God? Nobody. Only if he agrees to be. So eventually Krishna decided, my mother's love is so intense for me that I have to reciprocate. So he decided that he would allow her to bind him. And at that moment, Mother Yasoda gave up simultaneously. The two responses took place, but in this particular case, Krishna agreed. The last effort of Mother Yasoda was successful. And those 2 braids that she had from her hair tied around his waist, and then they managed to tie him up to the mortar, and the rest of the pastime was very wonderful. Pastime in brief. Mother Yasoda left him tied up to the mortar. A few local boys were there to try to make sure that things were correct. And besides, he was in earshot, so she could hear what she went off with some of the other maids, servants, and other ladies, not maids, ladies of the village came to clear up the mess which Krishna had created. As you know, children sometimes make a mess. And like that then Krishna joyfully wonder what next. First of all, she leaves me half fed. So what's wrong with me breaking the pots? It's perfectly justified. And of course feeding the monkeys, well, Mother Yasoda was always, during this pastime she kept telling him, you know, you're behaving like a monkey, you should live with the monkeys. Kept on insulting Krishna like that in a sense. So this is all part of sweet relationship. But Krishna was feeding his beloved monkeys. Those monkeys had helped him to build a bridge to Lanka, so he was repaying them for their wonderful selfless service by feeding them with his own hands the butter and milk made by Mother Yasoda or made in the house of Mother Yasoda. It's a wonderful reward for their selfless service. And then he thought about what to do now. Now she's tied me up. This is going from bad to worse. You know, what's she doing? How can she do this? You know, for nothing. She's tying me up now. I can't eat. I can't go anywhere. I can't play with my friends. I'm bound up like this. This is terrible. But anyway, Krishna was, I say, every situation turns into a pastime of nectar. So he then, of course, decided that the time was right to deliver the twin Arjuna trees, Nalakuvar and Manigriva. They've been bound in the form of trees for 20,000 years or more, old trees. So Krishna felt, now I'm bound, now is the time, I can feel what they're going through, so now let me release them. They've sufficiently atoned for their offense to Narada. They become purified, and by the way, in any case, Narada Muni said they had to be delivered by me, so I have to do it. And they've been purified for the years they've been here in the court of Nanda Maharaj. They become purified, so it's time to deliver. So Krishna delivered the trees by crawling through them. They were twin Arjuna trees from the same root, so they were like that going out. Krishna crawled between the two trees, and the mortar turned around and got stuck between the two trees, and Krishna then pulled a little harder, and there was an enormous crack. As the trees cracked, and then another big crack. They merged into each other as they hit the ground. As they cracked, you know, the ground level, the tremendous noise. If ever you've heard a tree, we had an enormous oak tree, one of the biggest at New Mayapur in France, break last year, old one. It crashed to the ground. I wasn't there, but it was telling. It sounded like a thunder clap had hit, and it cracked and crashed to the ground. Huge oak tree, smashed to the ground. It fell over in the wind and boom, hit the ground. Tremendous noise. You can hardly imagine. These trees were huge. And then of course Nalakavar and Manigriva came out of the trees and being purified, surrendered to Krishna. Hare Krishna, the pastime goes on. So we hope that this memory will stay in our minds, this memory of Damodar pastime, and purify us during this month of Kartik, of all desires to want to enjoy ourselves, to separately from Krishna. Thinking that these children and my family are mine, we have the responsibility to look after them, but they belong to Krishna. Everything's meant, even the pots of milk, Mother Yasoda was only going there because that was meant for Krishna's pleasure, and otherwise that would be wasted. She didn't want to. We want to utilize everything in Krishna's service. Everything. Jai Shri Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. As you know, there are hundreds of different details there in these pastimes which one can hear and relish. Just hearing a few tonight. Jai. So now it's time for Damodar Astakam, is that right?
Also, today is also we celebrate the Govardhan Puja.
Huh?
Celebrate the Govardhan Puja, we also celebrate.
When?
Today.
How can you do all this at once?
That's
You're
all.
gonna be here till Sunday. What do we do now?
No, nothing.
I
Just,
can't
just,
stay
just
up
like
too
that.
late because we've got to get. By 8 o'clock, I've got to be at the temple tomorrow morning. I'm going to do puja in the morning before we go.
Everybody get. Please, Maharaj, please.
Jai Madhavaki Ki Jai. So, Damodarastikam now?
Yeah.
And Govardhan Puja is tomorrow.
Program.
So you're celebrating on Sunday in the temple.
That's our extended celebration on Sunday.
Yeah. The actual day is tomorrow.
yeah.
Tomorrow's the actual day.
I mean, according to the Vaishnava calendar here in the US, it is today.
Not according to the devotion Brooklyn or First Avenue, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Mm.
Our calendar is.
All celebrating it tomorrow. Govardhan Puja is celebrated tomorrow. This has to
Can
be
take some
told us.
pictures.
So someone's going to sing or what do you want to do? Looks like, I don't mind singing, but it looks like some experts are coming in with harmoniums and they're getting ready for.
Can you sing?